Agency and the Glendale Housing Authority. May we have a roll call for the City Council, please?
Council members Draymond. Here. Friedman.
Here.
Najarian. Weaver.
Here.
Mayor Quintero.
Here.
And can we have a roll call for the agency, please?
Agency members Friedman.
Here.
Najarian. Quintero.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Chairman Draymond.
Here.
And for the Housing Authority?
Authority members Draymond.
Here.
Friedman.
Here.
Brazian.
Here.
Quintero.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Chairman Najarian. Vice Chair Mincy.
Here.
Mr. Clerk, would you read your report into the record, please?
Agenda for the March 16, 2010 joint public meeting of the Glendale City Council, the Glendale Redevelopment Agency, and the Glendale Housing Authority was posted on Thursday, March 11, 2010 on the bulletin board outside City Hall. Item before you is Director of Community Redevelopment and Housing regarding proposed Durang Gardens affordable home ownership development to be located at 331 through 343 West Durand Street. At 1A is council resolution making certain findings under California redevelopment law, approving the sale of certain property to AHP DFO LLC, and making certain findings with respect to an amended and restated disposition and development agreement and such sale. At B is agency resolution, making certain findings under California redevelopment law, approving the sale of certain property to HP DFO LLC, and making certain findings with respect to an amended and restated disposition and development agreement and such sale. At C is authority resolution approving an amended and restated disposition and development agreement by and between the Glendale Housing Authority and HP DFO LLC for the development of affordable housing for sale to moderate income first-time home buyers. And at D is authority resolution appropriating $5,419,430 to provide funding for the expanded Durand project to develop affordable ownership housing.
Thank you. Mr. Scarborough.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'll go to Peter Zilvac, Deputy Director of Community Redevelopment and Housing, for the staff report. Peter.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Mayor, Agency Chair Draymond, Vice Chair Mincy, members of the Authority. Back in December of 2005, the Housing Authority entered into a disposition development agreement with Heritage Housing Partners for the development of a 35-unit affordable home ownership project at 339 through 343 West Dorn Street. Heritage Housing Partners is a Pasadena-based nonprofit developer. They specialize in historic preservation and the integration of new development, new residential units in and around historical settings. The original project included the development of 32 new residential units along and around 3 existing craftsman-style homes that are on the site. 24 of those units were to be reserved for affordable ownership to low and moderate income first-time homebuyer households. The project involved new market tax credit financing, a very new funding source at that time, and was to begin construction once a joint venture project with the City of Pasadena and the developer was completed, and that project is known as Fair Oaks Court. At that time, the projects, both the Pasadena and Glendale projects, were the first projects in the country to be developed, affordable housing projects, ownership, in the country to be developed with new markets tax credits. So it broke new ground back in 2005. In October of 2007, during construction of the Pasadena project, the Housing Authority acquired the adjacent vacant property to the original project site on Dorn. That's at 331 through 335 West Dorn. And with the intent of expanding the original project. Later that month, the Authority authorized staff to negotiate with Heritage Housing on amending the existing DDA in order to broaden the scope of the development to include this new parcel. Both parcels, parcel number 1, the original project, isn't just about an acre. Parcel number 2 is an acre as well. So it's now gone from an original 1-acre parcel to now an expanded project consisting of 2 acres. The staff and the developer have done that, and Heritage is proposing to expand the project to now develop a 60-unit ownership, 3-story housing project. The expanded project is again proposed as a craftsman-style development with a combination of 1, 2, 3, and 4-bedroom units, consisting of 57 new residential dwelling units around the same 3 craftsman homes, which would be rehabilitated. All 57 new dwelling units will be reserved for purchase by moderate-income first-time home buyers. The 3 existing homes on the site will be reserved for purchase by market-rate home buyers without restrictions. The affordable units will consist of 5 one-bedroom units, 34 two-bedroom units, 14 three-beds, and 4 4-bedroom units. And the 3 market rate units are 1 3-bedroom and 2 4-bedroom units. The proposal also includes a half-acre of open space, which will be conveyed to the city at project completion by the developer as a condition of the entitlements of the expanded project. In support of this expanded project, the authority in 2007 applied to the state of California under a program that they offered called the Residential Development Loan Program, RDLP, and the authority received approximately $4.8 million in funding from the state of California to be used towards this project. In addition, in March of 2009, the authority applied again to the state of California, but under a different program, one called the Building Equity and Growth in Neighborhoods, the BEGIN program. And we were awarded $5.27 million in funding, and that will be used as third mortgage assistance to the moderate-income first-time homebuyers. At this time, the construction of the Fair Oaks Courts project in Pasadena has been completed. The units have been sold. Additionally, the developer was able to secure a construction loan recently with Mutual of Omaha Bank, as well as an additional new market tax credit equity investment for the expanded project by J.P. Morgan Chase. The developer has secured all zoning entitlements with the exception of tentative tract map approval, which they will be getting in the next 4 months. They've completed the building plan check process for the expanded project, and they are ready for building permit issuance. Staff, Community Redevelopment and Housing staff, have completed negotiations on an amended and restated DDA for the expanded project. The expanded project is approximately $34.1 million project, again utilizing the original and new market tax credit allocations. Per the terms of the amended and restated DDA, the authority assistance to this $34.1 million project will consist of construction period financing and permanent financing. During the term of the construction of the project, the authority's assistance will be approximately $13.3 million. Once the project is completed, that permanent assistance will convert, construction assistance will convert to permanent assistance and will go from $13.29 million down to a permanent assistance amount of $8.3 million. So the developer will be paying back a $4.8 million acquisition loan assistance, plus some additional funding on some of the additional assistance that the authority is providing monetarily. And then 8.3 of permanent financing will stay in the project, will be applied as silent seconds against the affordable units. Because this proposal includes the sale of housing authority land as required by redevelopment law, a public hearing notice for consideration of this proposal was published and made available to members of the public. As the city clerk had mentioned, there are 3 actions to be considered today to approve the project. They are that the City Council and agency make certain findings for the sale of land to Heritage Housing Partners, that the authority adopt a resolution authorizing the executive director to enter into a amended and restated disposition development agreement with Heritage, and that the Housing Authority adopt a necessary resolution of appropriation in order to fund the project. Here, I'd like to call up the executive director of Heritage Housing Partners, Charles Loveman, to talk a little bit about the project, take you through the proposal in terms of design and amenities. I'd also like to recognize staff from the Planning Department, Parks Department, City Attorney, our outside legal counsel and economic consultant. They're here to answer any questions you might have. They've all worked very hard to get this project to where it is today. If the authority, agency, and council were to approve this project, we expect to be able to break ground within about 3 months in terms of construction. Construction is estimated to take about 24 months to complete, and sale the units to take as long as, not necessarily needing to be that length of time, but could be as long as 18 months after the completion of construction. And if there are no questions for staff, I'll turn it over to the Executive Director, Charles Loveman.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Zivak. Mr. Loveman, if you would, and come on up and state your name for the record. While he's doing that, let me, for a little bit of housekeeping, turn here to the city attorneys. So, item A is a council resolution. Item B is an agency resolution. Can items C and D be taken together? Those are both housing authority.
Mr. Chair, yes, they may be taken together by the Housing Authority.
Okay. Thank you very much. And with that housekeeping out of the way, Mr. Loveman.
Good afternoon, members of the council, the agency, and the authority. as Peter mentioned, we were in front of this body about 4.5 years ago, talking about a 35-unit project on 1 acre. It has taken a long time to get back in front of this body. So I think the first order of business is to thank you for your patience and for your faith in our organization to get here today. Because it has taken such a long time to get back here, we have a lot of people in our team who are here in the audience today, and I think I would just like to say who's here in case you have follow-up questions for specific folks. So in no particular order, we have Evan Mather, who's our landscape architect, with us today, Jingbo Liu, who is our architect, Catherine Boland, who is with our staff at HHP. I'm very pleased to say that Greg Peterson, who is our loan officer with Mutual of Omaha Bank, is here today as well, and our contractor, Richard Lara, is in the audience. Peter asked me just to walk you through briefly some of the highlights of the project.
Okay, Mr. Martin, can I just ask you, can you give me a ballpark of how much time you think you're going to need?
I can take a minute.
Okay, very good.
Okay. I have here, there's a site plan here, and I think there's one in the packet that you guys were provided prior to the hearing. Thank you. This is the 2-acre site on Doran Street. We're just west of Central Avenue. There are the 3 existing historic houses that have been there since about the 1920s. The project is a 2-acre site, so the original project is 1 acre here, and then there's a second parcel of about 1 acre that the city purchased in 2007. We went from a 35-unit project on this western half of the property to now a 60-unit project in an L-shaped configuration. As Peter pointed out, one of the features of the project is this half-acre open space improvement that HHP will build as part of the project, and that at completion of project and certificate of occupancy, we're going to deed that over to the city, which will become a neighborhood mini park. This is a Craftsman style. We have some elevations, and I think they're more in your packet. It's a Craftsman style home ownership project, a mix of units, 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4-bedroom units. We are expecting a lot of interest and a lot of demand in these affordable units. The price points vary from about $230,000 for a 1-bedroom unit up to, I think it's about, I want to say, $280,000 for about an 1,800 square foot 4-bedroom unit. So we think that there's going to be a lot of interest in this project. We hope that the design will live up to what the city is looking for, and with that, I think I'm finished. If you have any questions of anyone on our team or myself, we're here.
All right. Mr. Lanspan, can you tell me who else will be speaking as part of the presentation?
I think that's it, and we're available. The entire team is available for any questions you have for further clarification.
All right. The mayor is back. I was just about to go to questions and comments from the staff.
Okay, any questions or comments from the staff? I have perhaps a question, but a comment. I assume we will be able to sort of finalize and make the final decisions on the mini park. Is that correct? Or are we, by approving this today, pretty much?
I think during the entitlement process, staff here worked with the developer to come up with this. I believe it's been at the Parks Commission and had their review.
Well, that's not an answer. The Park Commission makes decisions on mini parks, but it's been the practice the City Council makes the final decisions. This is just a bit sketchy in the sense that I see the plantings and so forth, but we don't really know what type of equipment is going in, if any, et cetera, et cetera. So there's still more details on a mini park.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, as part of the handout, what you should have is, as you mentioned, a plant detail specific to the project in general, then one that's specific to the park. Also, you should have some perspectives of what it is going to be like standing in the park, looking out towards the project, looking out towards the street. And then following those pages, you should have a cut sheet that details the type of play equipment that would be provided at the two tot lots, or I should say at the two lots, the play lots that will be there in the project, as well as some of the materials and equipment in terms of bench seating, fountains, and things like that. As Mr. Lanzafame mentioned, is that the developer and their landscape architect have worked with park staff on this over the last 2 years. In addition, it went before the Parks Commission as an informational item and gained their support. It's changed over time. So I believe that there might be some members of the council that might be familiar and might be able to recall some earlier versions of this, although it has been sometimes passed since last have seen it. This is the proposal that has been pro forma'd out by the developer. Certainly there are allowed to be changes made by the council if those are things that you would like to consider. It will then translate into affecting the developer's pro forma from that perspective. So depending upon the types of changes and things like that.
Well, I'm not thinking today necessarily, but like I say, I'm a little bit, a lot of the
Well, the park
plastic
component is one of the last parts to be, it's actually the last part to be
Right.
built because it's the half-acre site. It's going to be used as construction staging. So certainly there's going to be at least 18 to 24 months of being able to come back maybe and take a look at it.
some of the play equipment I'm not too enthused about. Mr. Draymond.
Well, with regard to the park or the open space elements, I don't know that I'm altogether crazy about some of what I saw here either. But I mean, specifically item by item, but we will have an opportunity to address that, I assume. So
24 months to be able to do that.
Yeah.
okay.
24 months of design.
What fun.
Mr. Starbird.
But we should be clear, I think the developer probably had hoped that he'd have general approval on the concept, but within the pro forma, the money that's been allocated, changes beyond this, if they affect cost, we'll have to talk about them. So if it's your desire, you can come back and have further review of it.
Ms. Friedman.
Well, I'm thrilled to see Heritage Housing Partners come to Glendale. I'm familiar with their project on Fair Oaks. It's, I don't even know what the right adjective is. It's beyond nice. It's pretty spectacular. When you go to see it, not only don't you think it's affordable housing, but it looks like incredibly exclusive housing. And they do such an amazing job with their site planning and their landscaping. And I'm assuming they're doing the same thing here, where you can't tell that there's a subterranean parking lot because they do a huge, I don't know what you would call it, but kind of like a planter bed built in above the roof of the parking garage so they can actually plant full-grown trees and other landscaping. So it's not just plants in pots. It looks like a natural landscape with fully mature plants, and then underneath it they have this parking structure. So it's really pretty incredible and quite a model for what can be done. And it'll be a great benefit to the neighborhood. It's going to upgrade that neighborhood. It's going to give middle class and upper middle class people almost, but middle class people a really nice place to live with a lot of space for kids. I think the layout for the park is quite nice. I actually had the same comment about the play equipment. I think the movement now is to do things that are more kind of creative and let kids really explore and not, be so constrained with just the swing and the slide. So I would just, as a suggestion, maybe take a look at some of the newer and more interesting playground equipment that's coming down the pike. And, it just seemed like with such a high-class project that looked a little generic. But it's a beautiful project. I'm completely all for it, and I can't wait to see it get built.
Any other comments? Okay. I also had the opportunity to tour the Pasadena site, and I think we're going to sort of have the perfect match for what you've done in Pasadena. This is a beautiful project. I think it's going to be a great project. Lots of moderate-income people will be able to afford a condominium here, and it's a great location. So near schools, near the freeway. It's a the perfect use for that land, which has basically been laying fallow for years and years and years. So it's a great upgrade to the neighborhood.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Weaver.
I'm happy with everything the way it is. I can testify that my granddaughter, when she goes to Americana, cannot get off the slide, nor can the hundreds of other kids that are on the slide. So it may be old-fashioned, but my granddaughter, it's tough to get her off. She wants to go over and over and over. So I like what you're putting in. From a grandfather's point.
Mr. Draymond.
Yes, and I can testify, having seen Mr. Weaver there, that they have trouble getting him off the slide. So
You're going down a slippery slope with that comment. But once I got one back, jeez.
I won't even try, Mr. Weaver. No, I do like the design as well. My only concern, and I agree with the mayor on this, I just want to make sure that the improvements in the park, I'm not crazy about the plastic. That's all I'm getting at. It just, to me, sort of works against the whole sort of organic nature of a craftsman-style project. And I also have been to your Fair Oaks property. Terrific. Almost makes me glad that I'm part of the only city employee group that can qualify by income to live in an affording housing project. So you can imagine how excited I am about this project coming to the city. In any case, no, I'm very happy with it, and I'm convinced that over the next, as Mr. Zovak points out, next 24 months or so, we can work out the issue of plastic versus metal, or the slide material of Mr. Weaver's preference. So, and thank you. And I also think it's really wonderful that among the various people associated with the project that you brought is the gentleman providing the financing or representing the folks. I mean, I'm surprised they didn't bring you in on a pillow, because I carry you in on a pillow. But yeah. So thank you to Mutual Omaha, and thank you to Heritage. So.
Okay, well, let's have a motion for the...
Mr. Mayor, move 1A for the council.
No, I'm sorry.
Just welcome to the city.
Any other comments? Okay, Mr.
Move 1A for the city council.
Second.
Roll call for the city council.
Council members Draymond?
Here.
Friedman? Instead of here, you meant yes.
I meant yes, and I think I may have dragged one of my colleagues along with me.
We'll try that again, one more time from the top. Council members Draymond?
Here and yes.
Okay. Friedman?
Yes.
Najarian? Weaver?
Aye.
Mayor Quintero?
Yes.
All right. And do we have
Chair,
a motion for
1B.
the agency? Do we have a second?
A second.
All right. Mr. Kasakian.
Agency members Friedman?
Yes.
Najarian? Quintero?
Yes.
Weaver?
Aye.
Chairman Draymond?
Yes.
And a motion for housing?
I'll move 1C and D for the housing authority.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Authority members Draymond?
Yes.
Friedman?
Yes.
Harazian?
Yes.
Quintero?
Yes.
Weaver?
Aye.
Chairman Najarian? Vice Chairman C?
Yes.
Well, thank you very much. Good luck. I think you'll get it done quickly. Okay, next, Mr.
Just motions to adjourn from all the bodies.
Move to adjourn from the council.
We are adjourned.
Is there a second for that?
Second.
Move to join for the agency.
Second?
The agency is adjourned.
Move to join for the housing authority.
Second?
The housing authority is adjourned.